It is another Tony game. Tony versus M. Sama. M. Night Shyamalan, and this is a TvZ mech. We are going to get as much money as we can and dump it into Hellions and tanks, and then add Thor and get upgrades, and that's the plan.
Upgrade complete.
Scouted gas.
Our SCVs are under
And a
attack.
spine. Ooh.
Complete.
That's good. I like it when the Zerg spines.
Add-on complete.
When I play Zerg, I always spine early because you never know what the Terran's going to do, and a spine will make you safe against everything. But when I play as Terran against a Zerg and he doesn't spine, that's even worse. Because I'm not planning to do anything, any sort of pressure. So the best choice for him would be not to spine. So he does spine. Yay! So you're just getting some map control with these Hellions. It's kind of the point of the early Hellions, is to take away vision from the Zerg, so he's always scared that an attack might be coming. Deny a little bit of creep spread, and most importantly, deny this third. Because if you get your Hellions down here early enough, they can kill the drone before it morphs into a hatchery. And then the only way he can ever take his third is by chasing your Hellions away, which he can't do without at least some roaches or a whole crap ton of speedlings. So that forces him to spend a bunch of larvae that he wanted to turn into drones on army before he can get this third, which means he either ends up delaying the third by several minutes, or he ends up getting army before he's fully saturated on his first two bases. Either way, it's a pretty big win for you, and all you have to do is put Hellions there and then run them away when he comes to chase them off. There's no fighting involved. You're not having to get any units you wouldn't otherwise have gotten. It's a you know, kind of universally standard TvZ tactic these days, for several seasons really even. So you're getting siege mode and blue flame and pumping out double tanks, as well as Hellions, although at 10 minutes to only have one tank is kind of scary. Kind of scary, but whatever. You've been spending all your gas, so I guess you've just been spending it on upgrades instead of tanks. This doesn't feel like it was... you had Marauders and Hellions in case you needed a roach rush, but you didn't have any bunker, and I don't know. You had your Hellions out in front of his base, so in order to attack you, you'd have to go past them, so you'd get some warning. But the amount of time it takes to walk across the field is like 40 seconds, and the amount of time it takes to build bunkers is like 50. So it's a little bit scary. Probably would have been okay. Dude walks into your tanks, suicides some stuff. That's always funny. At 10 minutes, good job, Simon. Simon got him, you guys. Don't. Sorry, so 10 minutes, 44 workers. That's great. $2,600 of army with 2, 4, 5, 500 of ups. That's 3,000 army. That's fine. That's great. I like it. You have done well so far. Thus far. I wish that there were more tanks and fewer Marauders. I wish that there were just more tanks in general. But I guess in order to survive the possibility of early roach pressure, having more Marauders is important at the time. So Blue Flame Hellion harass is always funny. Oh. Nice. It's kind of funny that you're harassing with one Hellion when he could have harassed with like 6. Killed all of his drones. But better to harass with one than not to harass at all, I always say. Now you're way ahead. He's been forced to constantly keep roaches up for fear of losing his third, and that means his I'm worried that the game sound might be too loud, but it's on 8%, so I guess there's nothing I can do about it if it is. And now I think the benchmark for when you want to push out with mech is at 5 tanks. You can either secure a third or attack your opponent. I don't see a CC going down, so you must be planning to attack him. Oh, there's this. You're going to build the CC in place. So mech has a big advantage over normal play, like an infantry tank or that kind of play. In that once you get beyond 5 tanks, and especially if you get like 5 tanks and a bunch of plus attack upgrades, then you start to really do huge amounts of damage before the fight even starts, and it makes the Zerg really not want to engage you properly, so that allows you to secure a death blow somewhere. Like if you siege up a bunch of tanks here, this place is now off limits. And you know that's kind of okay, but he can go around and whatever. But if you siege up a bunch of tanks within range of his third, now his third is off limits. Guaranteed to lose the third. There's nothing you can do about it. So at this point, you're basically winning on pure macro and economy. The early Hellion harass and the stuff he had to do to deal with the Hellion harass really crippled his ability to get enough drones to pull in enough money to do what he wanted to do. And now when you push, he's just way behind on army, like massively behind on army. And that just all comes from him not having a reasonable economy. And here you go. You're not going to unsiege the back tanks. You're just going to, new tanks are going to move a little bit forward. This is cool because then there's never enough time. And this fight should be pretty one-sided. Depending on whether you unsiege or not. Okay. So he keeps poking in and being like, oh, he's unsiege. Oh, he's okay. So you did unsiege 3 tanks, and then he took that opportunity to go in. And at this point, we're on 16 minutes, and you've got 9,000 plus upgrades. I don't know if that's good. You have to do math to find out if that's good. Obviously, it's so much better than your opponent that you win the game, but you never want to be competing against your opponents because then you won't be ready when you move up a league. You want to be competing against yourself. So let's say this is like 9,600 minus 3,000, which is what you had at 10 minutes, divided by 6 minutes, which is the number of minutes since 10 minutes. And you've been getting about $1,000 a minute of army since 10 minutes, and that's great. That's fine. I mean, it's not 3,000, but so the tanks rip his roaches to shreds, the blue flame lanes make it so that lings are utterly pointless. This is an important combination because tanks get ripped to shreds by lings, but lings, like, he can't use lings whatsoever if you have blue flame hellions. So now his only option is mash roach, and tanks are like the counter to roaches. You are pretty vulnerable to a muted transition, but he wasn't doing that anyway. Even if he had been doing that, I don't know, he might have been able to get more Thors out in response. At this point, game's just completely over. If you're using your units properly, you need a crap ton of them. I feel like all of the games I've seen from you, you're just outclassing your opponents by a mile, and it seems like if you're playing enough ladder games, you're never going to be outclassing your opponents by this much, you know? Because you'll just win a billion games and then stabilize at a point where you're winning half of them. So I think that you're on the right track, and if you just keep playing like this, you're going to keep going up until you finally plateau, and then we'll have more to talk about. But while you're on the rise like this, you're winning all your games. There's nothing you're doing wrong. I got nothing really beneficial to say about it. So great job. We do usually want to see 5 factory. So you got 5 factory, and then you added 1 later. Lots of mule energy undropped. You got this third as an orbital, which is kind of safer when you do mech than when you do bio, because you're going to be just keeping your tanks here anyway until you have enough to push out, and then when you do push out, you're going to be like overwhelmingly strong. So even if you lose your third, you're still going to win the game. But you know, it's a matter of preference. When you get higher in league, Zergs will do more run bys, and then planetaries will be happier. Generally awesome stuff, dude.